court wants to hear those first.
Absolutely. Which ones, what are those names?
So the first one we have is, I believe, Johnson, Your Honor. I'm scrolling to get to it. Yes, so the first one we have is Angelo Johnson.
Okay. We'll go ahead and call that case. Angelo Johnson.
Your Honor, Mr. Johnson has waived his appearance today, but we are prepared to proceed.
Thank you. Good morning. We're here today for first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found. The public defender's office has been appointed to represent the defendant. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates the defendant scored as an 8 or a higher risk utilizing that tool. State, or you indicated that you had a request for continuance.
Yes, Your Honor, the state is requesting a one-day continuance on this case for victim contact.
Do you have any information that you wish to push on the record?
Yes, Your Honor. So it looks like we attempted victim contact yesterday evening. We left a message for the named victim and are waiting to hear back from her.
Thank you. Defense?
And Your Honor, we would submit, I've been at bail hearings before where you didn't feel that there was good cause since they didn't try necessarily this morning. I didn't hear that they tried to contact this morning. So we are prepared to proceed if this court would like to.
Thank you. I'll note that we are outside of the 48-hour time period. However, if we continue this, however, I will also note that it appears that there's a probation hold based off the paperwork that's been provided. Given the attempts to reach the named victim, I do find that there is sufficient good cause to grant a continuance. And so we will go ahead and continue this until one day for tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. To permit for victim contact to ensure that the victim's rights pursuant to the constitutional rights set forth in Marcy's law be adhered to. Thank you. State your next case.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next one is Steely.
Thank you. Earl Steely.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning. We're here today for first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 0 or a low risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, I was going to request a continuance, but based on the information I'm seeing in the file, I won't be doing that.
Thank you.
So I don't know if the court wants to go ahead with this one or.
Let's go ahead and proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. So we did attempt to locate a number last night for the victim, and it appears we were unsuccessful in doing that. Mr. Steely scores a 0 on the risk assessment. He has no prior documented criminal history. The facts of the case are not particularly aggravated, so the state's not objecting to an own recognizance release with pretrial services supervision and no contact with the victim and no firearms.
It sounds like he's getting him out right now. We'll set him down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Defense?
Your Honor, we'd agree to that. We'd ask that you release him on his own recognizance. If you'd like some more information, we're happy to provide it.
Thank you. Based off of the facts as presented, I do find that there are least restrictive means that can be imposed in order to ensure the safety of the community and the named victim in this case. So you will be granted an own recognizance release with the following conditions. You will be required to be supervised by pretrial services, and you must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. I am imposing a no contact order with the named victim in this case, and that will be Tabitha Lindbergh. And state, are you requesting for the residents as well?
Your Honor, I'm not sure if that's her residence or his residence.
Thank you. So we'll just note for the person only. So, sir, you are to have no contact with the named victim and must stay 100 feet away from the named victim. You cannot contact or attempt to contact the victim in any way, including by phone, text, email, electronic means, or through social media, either directly or through an agent. That means someone working on your behalf. I am also imposing the condition that you cannot possess any firearms or weapons, as this is an alleged crime of violence. And I am ordering that you appear for your arraignment, which will be set for January 8th at 9 a.m. You must comply with these conditions and must appear for your next hearing, else a bench warrant could be issued for your arrest. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, Steely, you know that.
And state, what is the next case?
The last one, Your Honor, is Alvin Thomas.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas? Good morning. We're here today for a first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 6 for a moderate risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Your Honor, the state's requesting a one-day continuance in this case for victim contact. I would note he was arrested yesterday. I can't tell the time on the PC sheet, but it was yesterday, and then we received this case this morning.
Thank you. Have you made any attempts to speak with the named victim?
No, Your Honor, we don't have an investigator that works on Sundays.
Defense?
Your Honor, we are prepared to proceed and we would submit on whether to grant the continuance to the court.
Thank you. Given that we are only 1 hour outside of the time frame of the 48 hours, if I grant this continuance, I do find that there is good cause. Just based off of the timing, I do find that that is appropriate, and in order to ensure that the named victim's rights are adhered to pursuant to Marseille's law and their constitutional rights. That will be the order of the court, and so sir, we'll see you tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
Continuance. We'll do it tomorrow. They couldn't get a hold of the victim.
Thank you. Next, we have Sean Cry, followed by Brandy Ole.
All right, Thomas, wait, you can go ahead back to you.
Your Honor, could you say that name again of who's next?
Last name C-Y-R.
Your Honor, could Mr. Sear be trailed? He just was brought down from the Hill. So we haven't had an opportunity to talk with him.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and trail that matter. Brandy Ole. Good morning. We're here today for 3 separate cases. One's for a bail hearing on a new matter. One is for an arraignment, as well as a OR bail revocation hearing for an RCR 2025-130056. Let's go ahead and first begin with the arraignment. Do you have a copy of your criminal complaint?
Your Honor, she does have a copy of the criminal complaint. We've reviewed it. Her name is correctly spelled and should waive a formal reading.
Thank you. And just for the record, that's an RCR 2025-133454, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and waive a formal reading, and we will go ahead and set a new mandatory status conference date. Thank you. So that'll be December 31st. And before we select the time, let's go ahead and address the bail hearing for all matters. State, just for the record, I am still in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that the defendant scored as a higher risk utilizing that tool. Just for the record, the court was informed that it was an 11 according to that Nevada pretrial risk assessment. State, are you ready to proceed with all the bail hearings?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So that 11 should be a 12. She was scored 1 point for failures to appear, but she has more than 2 failures to appear in the past 24 months. This year, she's got that misdemeanor arrest for defrauding a proprietor. That's the case I believe that the court just arraigned her on. She failed to appear for her December 15th arraignment. She was originally released on her own recognizance in that case. She has a misdemeanor arrest for battery and petty larceny and possession of drug paraphernalia and resisting pending out of this court as well. She failed to appear for her April 2nd, 2025 court date. It looks like a bench warrant issued. She was picked up on the new charge. And then the bench warrant, she was released on her own recognizance again, and then she failed to appear for her December 3rd MSC. In that case, I think it's notable that she stole non-food items from Winco and punched a security officer on her way out. 2024, she's got a misdemeanor conviction for possession of drug paraphernalia. It looks like she's got 180 days suspended on that case. I'm not sure if that's still active or not. So as an initial matter, Your Honor, it looks like she's failed to appear for literally every single hearing out of this court, and the court continues to give her chance after chance, and every single time she gets picked up on an FTA warrant, she also has new charges. And at first blush, it might look like these crimes that she commits are crimes of necessity, but they are not. The city provides many resources for people in need, as we know, but this defendant makes the conscious choice to continue to victimize people and small businesses in our community. A few weeks ago, she went to Squeeze In, ordered a pitcher of mimosas and some of the most expensive food items on the menu, and then she and her co-defendant took turns going to the bathroom to use drugs to the point where it was so obvious that the other patrons in the restaurant took notice and reported it to management. She's got another case out of this court that's been pending for nearly a year because she continues to fail to appear, and this court continues to release her. In that case, she attempted to steal nearly $800 in non-food items, then punched and kicked a security guard who attempted to stop her. She absolutely should be held on a bail she can't afford. As she's proven to this court many times, in every case that she's had in this court. She will not abide by conditions, and she won't show up. And she certainly poses a danger to the community. So the state's requesting $15,000 on the unlawful occupancy case, $5,000 on RCR 2025-133454B, and $5,000 on RCR 2025-130056. The state would request DAS or whatever's taking over for DAS with testing for drugs and alcohol, no contact with the property at 252 West 1st Street on that new case, squeeze in on the defrauding proprietor case, and Winco on the earlier case.
Yes, and just to confirm that 15,000 is requested for the, what you have indicated as the unlawful occupancy, and that's the RPC 2025-064978, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Defense.
Your Honor, I've spoken with Mrs. Ohl. She does not have any funds to be able to make any sort of bail in any case. So if you set any monetary bail, it'd be a de facto no bail hold for her. You know, there has been discussion of some failure to appears, and I think part of the issue previously was that Miss Ohl didn't have any stability in where she could live. And that's something that's different than before. We were able to contact Jimmy. He lives at 1745 Starburst in Reno, Nevada, or excuse me, Stardust in Reno, Nevada. He confirms that she can live with him there. My client is employable as an esthetician. So we think that now that she has that place that she can live, that there'd be more stability in her life and she will be able to comply with an OR. And that would be our request, Your Honor.
Thank you. Give me just one moment. Thinking RPC 2025-064978, the court does find that the state has met its burden by proving by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in this case in order to ensure the safety of the community based on the facts presented in the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, the factors as outlined in NRS 178.4853 and NRS 178.498. Just for the record, this is based off of the allegations as well as in terms of the likelihood of conviction, the failure to appears within her cases as outlined in her other cases, as well as the failure to comply with supervision. Based off that all in the higher Nevada pretrial risk assessment, the court does find that there are no least restrictive means. And so in this case, the defendant will be ordered to be supervised by the Department of, she will be required to be supervised by pretrial services and must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. In that case, I am ordering the condition that she's to have no contact with the location of 252 West 1st Street and must stay 100 feet away from that named victim. In RCR 2020, I'm so sorry, $10,000. It is, that's the bail bondable with the 10% cash option. In RCR 2025-133454B, the court does find that the state has met its burden with respect to today's hearings and the own recognizance release is hereby revoked. I am making the same findings of fact as previously stated, and bail will be set in the amount of $5,000 bondable with a 10% cash option. All previously ordered conditions shall remain. However, the court will require that the defendant be supervised by pretrial services instead of the Department of Alternative Sentencing, as the court wants to ensure that she's supervised by 1 agency rather than 2 separate agencies. So you must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. In RCR 2025-130056, the court makes the same findings of fact and does find that the state has met its burden with respect to today's proceeding and is granting the request for an own recognizance release revocation. So your own recognizance release is hereby revoked and bail will be set in the amount of $5,000 bondable with a 10% cash option. All previously ordered conditions shall remain except for supervision. You will be required to be supervised by pretrial services and must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. That will be the order of the court, and we'll go ahead and set for Madam Clerk. Do you want to set those dates? Would that be easiest? Thank you.
On the 133454B, she had no conditions, so you want just pretrial?
Yes.
Okay. So then on 133454B, MSC will be 12/31 at 9 a.m. And then on 133056, MSC will. Oh, that's the one that will be, sorry, 12/31. Right, there's misdemeanors and felonies. Or gross misdemeanors.
I think the gross is the new one.
Could be, so reach out to them when they contact you.
So both of them will be on 12/31. At 9 AM for MSCs.
And then in RPC, we'll do a 72-hour hearing, which will be set for December 26th at 9:30 AM. Thank you.
All right, all in about.
I'm
Next,
sorry,
we
Your
have
Honor,
Amber-
did you say that was December 26th?
31st.
31st.
The 72 will be December 26th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Angela Coda,
Okay.
Head back.
followed by Matthew Field. Good morning. We're here today for first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 14 or a higher risk utilizing that tool. State, are we ready to proceed with bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So the state's requesting bail in the amount of $10,000 for Ms. Coda, pretrial services supervision if she's able to post and no contact with Space Cadet. She scores a 14 on the risk assessment. Already this year, 2025 alone, she's got 11 cases out of Reno Municipal Court with at least 4 failure to appear warrants. Looks like 6 of those cases are trespassing cases, 4 for open container, and 1 is for urinating or defecating in public. 2024, she's got a gross misdemeanor conviction for indecent exposure. She was sentenced to flat jail time in that case, 180 days. Her 2024 PSI shows 1 prior gross misdemeanor convictions. That was a 2019 unlawful taking of a motor vehicle, and then 44 prior misdemeanor convictions with at least 26 failures to appear. So she's a very high risk of continued criminal conduct, very high risk of future non-appearance. So the state is requesting $10,000 bail, pretrial services supervision if she's able to post, and no contact with Space Cadet.
Thank you. And my apologies, what was the amount?
Space Cadet.
$10,000, Your Honor.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, we are asking for a release on Ms. Cota's own recognizance. She's 50 years old. She's been in the area for 10 years. And when we're looking at the likelihood of conviction, Ms. Cota would like this court to know that she is not guilty of these charges. And with that, Your Honor, we would submit.
Thank you. Based on the facts as presented, the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, as well as the factors in NRS 8.4853 and NRS 8.498, the court does find that the state has met its burdens by proven by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in this case in order to ensure the safety of the community, as well as the appearance of the defendant. The court will specifically note the Nevada pretrial risk assessment with the prior failure to appear, as well as the lack of ties to this community and the significant criminal history. Bail will be set in the amount of $8,000. That will be a bondable with a 10% cash option. If the defendant is able to post that bail amount, she will be required to be supervised by the Department of Alternative Sentencing, she'll be required to be supervised by pretrial services and must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. And she's ordered to have no contact with Space Cadet located at 1400 East 7th Street. Cannot contact, must stay 100 feet away from that location. That will be the order of the court, and we will go ahead and set the 72-hour hearing, which will be set for December 26th at 9:30 AM. Thank you.
December 26th.
Matthew Field, followed by Elisa Gomez. Good morning. We're here today for first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as an 11 or a higher risk utilizing that tool. State, are we ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So Mr. Field scores an 11 on the risk assessment, as Your Honor noted. He also has a PMP hold. It looks like he was just convicted in May of this year of robbery out of 9th JD. He was also arrested in that case on an assault with a deadly weapon and a residential burglary. Also this year, he's got 2 misdemeanor convictions for contempt and a misdemeanor conviction for possession of drug paraphernalia. In 2024, he's got 2 misdemeanor convictions for contempt. So he has a documented history of failing to comply with court orders, and he has a very recent felony conviction for a violent crime. Here he is in custody on violent crime allegations. So the state is requesting bail in the amount of $10,000, pretrial services supervision, no contact with the victim and that supermarket, I think it's El Super, and no firearms or weapons.
Thank you. Do you have the address for El Super? I just have located on Silverado Boulevard.
That's all the information that I have currently as well, Your Honor, but I can Google it.
Thank you. The other, I just don't know if it is El Super. We do have an address of 1680.
So the address that I'm seeing on Google is 1901 Silverado Boulevard.
Thank you. Are you requesting no contact order with the co-defendants?
Oh, yes, Your Honor, I did intend to request that. Thank you.
And then I can't read the handwriting for the co-defendants, so do you have it? Is the
Yes, I
co-defendant-
do. So his co-defendants are Elisa Gomez, Elysa Gomez, and Andrew Harkins, Andru Harkins.
Okay.
And Michael Irwin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Defense?
Your Honor, we attempted to contact my client's reference, but were unable to make contact with his father, Randy. But my client does confirm that he is on probation. He is 21 years old. And with that, we would submit, Your Honor.
Thank you. Based on the facts as presented, the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, as well as the factors in NRS 178.4853 and NRS 178.498, the court does find that the state has met its burden by proving by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in this case in order to ensure the safety of the community. The court will require that if the defendant is able to post bail, that he be required to be supervised by pretrial services and must check in within 1 business day of release. Bail will be set in the amount of $10,000 that is bondable with a 10% cash option. Based off of the defendant's criminal history, the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, the history of failure to comply. I will also note the lack of ties to this community and the prior criminal history involving violence. Bail will be set in that amount as discussed. I am imposing the condition that the defendant cannot possess any firearms or weapons, as this is an alleged crime of violence and based off of his criminal history. Additionally, I'm requiring that he have no contact with the named victim in this case, as well as with the El Super, a supermarket located at 1901 Silverado Boulevard. Additionally, if he's able, I'm not sure how this jail will do this, but based off the request of the state, I will go ahead and grant the request to have no contact with the co-defendants of Elisa Gomez, Andrew Harkins, and Michael Irwin. That will be the order of the court, and we'll go ahead and set a 72-hour hearing, which will be set for December 26th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you, and that is due to community safety regarding co-defendants. Elisa Gomez. Good morning. We're here today for a first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 7 or a moderate risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's requesting $5,000 for Ms. Gomez, pretrial services supervision if she's able to post, no contact with the victim and El Super, no firearms or weapons, and no contact with her co-defendants, which include Mr. Field, who the court just saw, Andrew Harkins, and Michael Irwin. So let's see, I'm trying to scroll back to her. So she scores a 7 on the risk assessment. Her criminal history indicates that she is wanted on failure to appear on removal proceedings, but I don't see that she has a hold for that. A protection order was issued against her in October, which prohibits her from possessing weapons. 2025, this year, she's got a misdemeanor conviction for possession of drug paraphernalia. In that case, she was released on her own recognizance, then tested positive and missed tests, then she stopped checking in altogether. She was also booked on a failure to comply warrant at the time of her arrest on that case. So she already has compliance issues this year. As you can see from the facts of this case, she had to be placed in a wrap. She was completely non-compliant with law enforcement. I think she will be unsupervisable, and she's a high risk of continued criminal conduct and a high risk to this victim. So the state is requesting bail in the amount of $5,000, pretrial services supervision if she's able to post, no contact with the victim and El Super, no firearms or weapons, and no contact with her co-defendants.
Thank you. Defense?
And Your Honor, we disagree with the state. We believe that there can be conditions placed in place to allow Ms. Gomez to be released on her own recognizance. Although we left a message for her mother, Linda, and we were unable to verify this information, My client informs me that she has a job that she's set to start on the 23rd. She'll be working at McDonald's. She also says that she has a place to live at 176 Poppy Lane in Reno. She also informed me that she has a cell phone, but it's broken and with her mother, and there'd be a cell phone at her mom's house that she could use. With that information, it would reduce her NPRA score down to approximately a 3. So we're hoping that you would consider that and reduce her release to a release on her own recognizance with conditions such as no firearms, no weapons. We're agreeable to that. The no contact request that the state has requested, and allow Ms. Gomez to be released and start working on this case.
If I may
Thank you.
just briefly, Your Honor, the one concern I have with that address, I believe at least 2 of her co-defendants listed that same address on Poppy.
Thank you. Based on the facts as presented, the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, as well as the factors set forth in NRS 178.4853 and NRS 178.498, the court does find that the state has met its burden by proving by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in this case in order to ensure the safety of the community and the named victim in this case. The court will note the information is provided. We'll note that it was not verified, but the court is unable at this point to reduce the Nevada pretrial risk assessment score. However, it has taken that into consideration. But given the facts and circumstances, the likelihood of conviction, the lack of ties to this community, and the significant concern regarding the safety of the named victim, bail will be set an amount of $3,000 bondable with a 10% cash option. If the defendant is able to post that bail amount, you will be required to be supervised by pretrial services. So you must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day release. You are ordered to immediately have no contact with the named victim in this case, as well as a location of 1901 Silverado Boulevard. You cannot possess any firearms or weapons, as this is an alleged crime of violence. And I will also impose a no contact order as requested with the named co-defendants in this case. That will be the order of this court, and we'll go ahead and set a 72-hour hearing, which will be set for December 26th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you. Andrew Harkins, followed by Michael Irwin.
Hi, Gomez, leave the room.
Good morning. We're here today for a first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 6 or moderate risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So Mr. Harkins has no prior documented criminal history. He scores a 6 on the risk assessment. However, this is a violent crime with a high likelihood of conviction, especially as to him. He played the most significant role in this case. He admitted that he was the one who attacked the victim with a baseball bat. And as Your Honor is aware, that MPRA score and his lack of criminal history is just one factor to consider. As I mentioned, he admitted to forming the plan to jump the victim with his friends. He did so with the use of a baseball bat, ambushing the victim. Very dangerous, very high likelihood of conviction on these violent felony crimes. I think there is a high risk to the community. The state's requesting bail in the amount of $10,000, pretrial services supervision if he's able to post, and no firearms or weapons, no contact with the victim and the L super, and no contact with his co-defendants.
Thank you. My apologies. What was the amount requested?
$10,000, Your Honor.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, we would request that you release Mr. Harkins on his own recognizance, or that you set bail at a lesser amount than $10,000. My client believes that he has approximately $1,000 that he could use to be able to make bail. But one of the conditions that we're asking is if you feel that an OR would be appropriate with an ankle monitor. We have talked to his mom. She thinks that an ankle monitor could be accommodated if needed. And with that, Your Honor, we're able to speak with his mom this morning. She verified that the address of 176 Poppy Lane is actually their house. It's Mr. Harkins' house, that he has employment, that he's been at employment at Tesla for a year, that he has a phone, and she gave a phone number. And I think that there's a lot of underlying issues that could be addressed with counseling. And these are things that need to be lined up. And it looks like he has the support of his family. So there are those lesser conditions with an OR release that could be put in place and still have the safety of the community. Again, with what we were able to confirm on the NPRA, we're able to confirm that he has a cell phone, a job, a residence, which would lower his NPRA score to a 2 or a low. And with that, would submit, Your Honor.
Thank you. Just for the party's information, the name that is located in Odyssey will be corrected to reflect the name that I have, at least in the arrest report and declaration. So are you able to confirm the spelling of his first name?
Is it ANDRU
Yeah.
or is it ANRU?
I don't know how they got that. It's ANDRU.
It's ANDRU.
Thank you. So I apologize for, that's what we were looking at, is just making sure that we had the correct information. And so we'll go ahead and make that modification just for the record. I do find that based on the facts as presented, the Nevada pretrial risk assessment and the factors as outlined in NRS 178.4853 and NRS 178.498, that bail is necessary in this case, as the state has met its burden by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in order to ensure the safety of the community. I will note the significant risk and danger to the community and the named victim in this case, as well as the level of violence that was used, as well as the defendant's very own statements in this. So with the likelihood of conviction, based off of that information, bail will be set in the amount of $5,000, that it will be bondable with a 10% cash option. If the defendant is able to post that bail amount, he will be required to be supervised by the Department of Alternative Sentencing. So you must check in with the, sorry, my apologies. He'll be ordered to be sentenced or to be supervised by pretrial services, and he is required to check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. I am imposing the condition that he cannot possess any firearms or weapons, as this is an alleged crime of violence. I'm also imposing the condition that he is to have no contact with El Super or the location of 1901 Silverado Boulevard or Jacob Davies, and also to have no contact with the named co-defendants in this case. That will be the order of the court, and we will go ahead and set a 72-hour hearing, which will be set for December 26th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, you indicated there was a 10% cash option on this case. It's 2 Category B felonies with a victim.
My
and
apologies. There will be no 10% cash option based off of the allegations and the nature of the charges. It is not appropriate pursuant to the administrative order at this time. Thank you.
All right, RJC, can you back to her?
Michael Irwin, followed by Angela Johnson. Good morning. We're here today for first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 3 or low risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So this is the co-defendant of all the people we just saw. So the difference with him is he scores a 3 on the risk assessment. He has no prior documented criminal history, and he appears to have played a less significant role. For those reasons, the state's not objecting to an own recognizance release for him, no contact with El Super and the victim, no firearms or weapons, and no contact with the co-defendants.
Thank you. Just confirm, do you wish to have supervision?
Oh, yes, I apologize. Thank you, Your Honor. Pretrial, would it be? Yes, pretrial services supervision, please.
And the basis for that?
The basis for supervision,
Correct.
I would say just based on the nature of the case, it's a violent case.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, we would submit on the state's request and ask that you follow that. If you'd like some information from my client's reference, I'm happy to provide that as well.
Do you have any issue with any of those suggested requirements for supervision?
Your Honor, in talking with his mother, she verifies he's a very good kid. He'll follow through with any conditions. I don't know.
I'm so sorry. I just want to make sure it's clear. Are you objecting to any of the conditions requested?
No, Your Honor, he's willing to do supervision requirements.
Thank you. I do find that there are least restrictive means that can be imposed in order to ensure the safety of the community. So, sir, you will be released here today on your own recognizance with the following conditions. You will be required to be supervised by pretrial services, where you must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. Just for the record, the supervision for pretrial services will just be to provide information to the court regarding if there's any new arrests. Just make that clear for the record. With respect to the other conditions, you are required to have no contact with 1901 Silverado Boulevard, Jacob Davies or El Super. You are required to not possess any firearms, as this is an alleged crime of violence. And you are also ordered to not have any contact with any of your named co-defendants. That will be the order of the court. And we'll go ahead and set an arraignment, and that'll be set for January 8th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
January 8th, I have to go to court. All right.
Angelo Johnson, followed by Dion Moore.
Get all the information you need before you get released. Okay, thank you. I heard my name was somebody.
Your Honor, I believe we already continued, Angelo Johnson.
Thank you. Dion Moore, followed by Andrew Olivia. Good morning. We're here today for first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found. Its public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 3 or low risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. The state is requesting bail in the amount of $20,000, bondable only, pretrial services supervision if he's able to post, no contact with the victim, and no firearms or weapons. So he does score a 3 on the risk assessment. However, he's got a P&P hold. It's because he's got a felony conviction already this year in September for attempted possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. That was out of Las Vegas, and notably it was on a 2023 arrest. So conviction came 2 years after arrest in that case. He's also got a felony arrest for a probation violation this year in August 27th, and then another felony arrest for a probation violation earlier in August. And let's see. Prior to that, his criminal history seems pretty remote. He's got a 2008 felony conviction for possession of cocaine. In that case, a fugitive warrant issued and he was arrested in California. And then 2003 felony convictions for burglary and possession of stolen property. Those convictions were out of California, and it looks like his parole was revoked in 2010. So he has a history of being a fugitive. Like I mentioned, he's got that felony conviction already this year from 2 months ago, it looks like. And the facts of this case, it's a violent crime that resulted in significant injury to the victim. So the state is requesting bail in the amount of $20,000, bondable only, pretrial services supervision if he's able to post, no contact with the victim, and no firearms or weapons.
Thank you. My apologies, State. Do you believe that you indicated that he has a history of being a fugitive?
So yes, so he has a fugitive arrest. Like I mentioned, it was back in 2008. A fugitive warrant issued on his what was later a felony conviction for possession of cocaine. He had a fugitive warrant in that case and was arrested in California.
I was in prison.
Thank you. Defense.
Your Honor, we are requesting a release on his own recognizance. One factor that the court can look at is the likelihood of conviction. The police report contains information that Mr. Moore may have been acting in self-defense as the alleged victim was brandishing a knife at a person's wife. So there is a true question of why this was necessary. We would point out that although Mr. Moore is placed on probation, he's been doing very well on probation. We were able to verify his address at 2017 Valley Road. He's able to stay with his dad or his brother if needed in Reno, if you don't want him to return to that address. We verified employment at Custom Glass. He's been there for a few years. And, you know, like we said, there's that question of whether or not this was a necessity of self-defense. He is already on supervision with parole and probation. Releasing him on his own recognizance under their oversight, I think would be appropriate. So this question of whether this was appropriate can be played out in the courts. And with that, would submit, Your Honor.
Thinking you indicated that you had information that he's doing well on probation.
Yes, Your Honor, we were able to speak with Ambrosia Smith. Is that your mom?
No, that's my fiance.
Who is his fiance, who said that he's been doing well.
Yeah, I get off probation January 6th.
He's supposed to be off probation January 6th, is what he's informed me.
Thank you. So I just want to confirm you didn't actually confirm with the Division of Parole and Probation regarding his status. As what I've heard is that he has a history of that he is non-compliant.
According to his fiance, he's been doing well on probation. That's what we were able to confirm. We did not reach out to PNP this morning.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Give me just one moment.
Okay. That's why I think
Thank you. Based on the facts as presented, the Nevada pretrial risk assessment and the factors as outlined in NRS 178.4853 and NRS 178.498, the court does find that the state has met its burden by proving by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in this case in order to ensure the safety of the community. I will note it is concerning to the court that the defendant is currently on supervision when this crime of violence is alleged to have occurred. The history of failure to comply. I'll just note that for the record of the court is considering the statements from the fiance. However, at this time, the court is concerned with the statements that were made with respect to the history of non-compliance. Additionally, with the history or with the level of violence that's alleged to have been used in this case, bail will be set in the amount of $5,000 that will be bondable with no 10% cash option based off of the allegations as contained. Or the reason for the lower bail is also based off of his lower Nevada pretrial risk assessment score. The court is considering that as well. I am requiring that the defendant is to have no contact with the named victim in this case of Andy Colt. Additionally, I am imposing the condition he cannot possess any firearms or weapons, as this is an alleged crime of violence, as well as his criminal history. Additionally, I am requiring the condition that he be supervised by pretrial services. So, sir, if you're able to post that bail amount, you will be required to be supervised by pretrial services and must check in with them within 24 hours of release. That will be the order of the court, and we'll go ahead and set a 72-hour hearing. That'll be set for December 26th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
So is that going through bond? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
bail bondsman, yes.
David Winward, followed by Andrew Gross. Good morning. We're here today for a first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 7 or a moderate risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So Mr. Winward was also arrested. He was also booked on a failure to appear warrant when he was arrested on this case. This is a hit and run case. I would point out that he did essentially turn himself in. He contacted police and admitted to driving the Mercedes. So that bodes in his favor, but the state is concerned by the failure to appear warrant. That was on a destruction of property site. Looks like he failed to appear for his arraignment on July 22nd of 2024. So he's been on the lam on that one for over a year. 2022, he's got misdemeanor convictions for disturbing the peace and speeding. 2021, a misdemeanor conviction for violating a domestic violence EPO. He's got a resisting conviction in 2020. And then some earlier, looks like misdemeanor convictions, 2011 through 2014. He's got a couple of possession of drug paraphernalia and he's got a DUI, a misdemeanor arrest for contempt in 2014. And then back in 2003, he's got a felony conviction for burglary and a fugitive arrest out of California in 2002. So I think just based on the nature of the case, it being a hit and run, the fact he was also booked on a failure to appear, there is a risk of future non-appearance and also a risk to the community. So the state is requesting bail in the amount of $5,000 with pretrial services supervision.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, we are requesting a release on his own recognizance. Mr. Winward does not have any financial means to make any sort of bail. The state did mention that he has another warrant, which is a $500 bail out of Sparks Justice Court. In preparation for the hearing this morning, we're able to reach out to Amber. Amber has verified his address at 5323 Blanching Way in Sun Valley, Nevada. He's been there for a year. And I would just note that because on the NPRA, he did receive 2 points for not having a residence, and we were able to confirm that this morning. He's employed at Reno Housing Authority. He's been employed there for 6 months. He has half custody of the kids, and in Amber's mind, he's a good person. He's trying really hard, and like the state said, he did turn himself in. I think with this showing of turning himself in, he will be compliant with any sort of conditions this court imposes. These are very serious charges, and he's taking them that way. And we would submit with that, Your Honor.
Thank you. I do find that there are least restrictive means that can be imposed in order to ensure the safety of the community. So, sir, I'm giving you this opportunity. You will be released on your own recognizance. I'm not requiring any other conditions. So I don't find that the state has met its burden with respect to that requirement. I am requiring that you appear in Reno Justice Court on January 8th at 9 a.m. for your arraignment. Just for the record, you must comply with attending all of your court hearings as well as obey all laws. That'll be the order of the court. We'll go ahead and see you at your arraignment date. If you fail to appear, then a bench warrant will be issued for your arrest. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You still have a bail in your other case though, or just on these.
Andrew Gross, followed by Jason Harmon. Good morning. We're here today for first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 14 or a higher risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So as Your Honor noted, he scores a 14 on the risk assessment. He's got an active pending case out of this court. He has 11 failure to appear, failure to comply, or other warrants in the last 10 years. But I think really the bigger problem is that pending case out of this court. It's a CC. He's charged with carry concealed weapon, a misdemeanor, no insurance, no driver's license. It was originally a possession of dangerous weapons case, nearly identical facts. He had the brass knuckles in his back pocket. He was released on his own recognizance on November 16th, so just a little bit over a month ago. He was ordered to have no weapons at his OSC on a pretrial violation report on December 17th, so just a couple days ago. The judge reinstated him on his own recognizance release, but reminded him to have no weapons. And now here he is, like 3 days later, with brass knuckles in his pocket. The same thing that he knows is illegal. He's already been arrested for it. He's already been warned about it multiple times. And then in September of this year, it looks like he has misdemeanor convictions for driving with no valid driver's license and invalid registration. A failure to comply warrant issued in that case on November 12th. So he just has a very recent history of willful non-compliance with court orders. He's essentially just thumbing his nose at the court. He doesn't care what the court orders him to do. 2024, he's got a gross misdemeanor conviction for conspiracy to commit burglary out of 2nd JD. His PSI in that case shows 2 prior gross misdemeanor convictions and 27 prior misdemeanor convictions. I won't get into all of those for the court, but just suffice it to say it's a garden variety of crimes. He also, that gross misdemeanor conviction is an attempted battery causing substantial bodily harm in 2017. So a history of violence. He just will not stop committing this very same crime. He won't stop driving on without a valid driver's license. He tells the police, "Oh, I've just always driven without a license, so it just really doesn't matter." So, Your Honor, there are no conditions that this court can craft to ensure the safety of the community, his appearance at court. So the state's requesting bail in the amount of $10,000, pretrial services supervision, and no weapons.
Thank you. Defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. We were able to speak with my client's mother this morning, and based on the information we gave us, we are going to be requesting a release on his own recognizance. His mother did verify their address at 490 Lake Street, apartment 209. They've been there for 3 years. She's verified his employment at Whitney Peak as a security guard, and he also works as a mover. She verified that he does have his own phone, so this would reduce his NPRA score by 4. She did express that they actually have an appointment with the DMV on January 13th to start the process for the license. So releasing him on his own recognizance was also help with the negotiation of this case, because then he can take those steps to get the license in place. And with that, we would submit, Your Honor.
Thank you. Based on the facts as presented, the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, I will note that would be reduced to a 10, which is still a higher risk utilizing that tool, and the factors as outlined in NRS 178.4853 and NRS 178.498. The court does find that the state has met its burden by proving by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in this case in order to ensure the safety of the community. I will note the history of similar offenses, the history in terms of the criminal history, and with that in mind, and the likelihood of conviction. Bail will be set amount of $5,000, bondable with a 10% cash option. Sir, if you're able to post that bail amount, you will be required to be supervised by pretrial services, and you must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. You are ordered to not possess any firearms or weapons, and that is due to community safety. You are ordered to that you cannot drive unless you have a valid license, and that is due to community safety. We will go ahead and set your 72-hour hearing, and that will be set for December 26th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you. Jason Harmon, followed by Andrew Olivia.
Your Honor, Mr. Harmon waived his appearance, and we are prepared to proceed.
Thank you. We're here today for a first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent him. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that he scored well, I apologize, I'm not in receipt of it. If we were here today for a wins check, just to confirm that we have not received it yet. Thank you, State. Are you requesting a 1-day continuance?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is requesting a one-day continuance to receive the win so we can get his criminal history and an NPRA score for him.
Thank you, defense.
Your Honor, we would submit.
Thank you. I do find that there's good cause to grant a one-day continuance in order to allow for that to occur. Madam Clerk, we can please contract pretrial services and request for that to be done. Thank you. We'll go ahead and turn now to Andrew Olivia. Followed by Sean with the last name CYR. Good morning. We're here today for a first appearance of bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has not yet been appointed to represent you. The information I have is that you would retain private counsel. Have you hired an attorney to represent you?
Not yet.
Okay. Do you want for me to see if you qualify for the services of the public defender for them to be able to represent you?
I'm not sure I understand.
Do you want us to make the argument? for you?
Absolutely. So what I
Yeah.
can do is I can continue this to give you the
No,
opportunity to
it's okay.
hire private counsel for the bail hearing. Or I can see if you qualify for the services of the public defender where they can represent you here today for the bail hearing.
Yeah.
He's requesting a public defender review, Your Honor. He would like us to represent him this morning.
Thank you, sir. Assuming you were to remain in custody, approximately how much money are you able to make, if any?
Custody. Do you make any money while in custody?
No.
So we'll put 0.
Thank you. I do find that you qualify for the services of the public defender, so the Washoe County Public Defender's Office will be appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 3 or a low risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So Mr. Olivia has no prior documented criminal history. However, given the facts of this case, he does present a danger to the community, so the state is requesting bail. I'm requesting bail in the amount of $10,000, pretrial services supervision if he's able to post that, no firearms or weapons, and no contact with the victims. So in this case, he essentially pointed a gun at a car full of people, including a child, over a smoothie. It's pretty unhinged. And so I do think there is a high risk to the community. And for that reason, the state is requesting bail in the amount of $10,000, pretrial services supervision, no firearms, and no contact with the victims.
And just for the record, the name of the victims? I have Aurora George and minor child with initials LG.
If I could just pull that up, Your Honor. I think my recollection is that perhaps they didn't have all the names listed, in which case I wouldn't have names to provide, Your Honor, but I'm just going to double check that. Yeah, so that's all the information I have for the time being.
Also is the Bow Wyrick. And I'm just looking at page 2, the last paragraph.
Page 2. Yes, Your Honor. So the state would request just all those victims that are listed in that probable cause declaration. I can email them to the court if that would be the
I'd
preference.
appreciate that, but I believe those are the individuals, so I just want to make sure, well, we have to have that information for the defendant, so he knows that of
Yes.
who needs to have no.
So yes, the information that that the court just conveyed, the names that are contained therein, that would be the state's request.
Thank you, defense.
Your Honor, as you know, there's likely more to this case than we see in the probable cause sheet. We expect that to play out when we get to court. But we are requesting that you release him on his own recognizance today. Like the state said, he has any limited criminal history. He scored a 3 on the NPRA because they note that he did not have a cell or he did not have a job. We were able to contact Dasha, his girlfriend. She verified his address at 1626 Hoyt Street in Reno. They've been there for 2 months. He's welcome to return. He's employed as a window cleaner at A1 Window Cleaning, and she confirmed that he has his own phone. So with those two, that would reduce his NPRA down to a low or a 1. He's willing to comply with any sort of court requirements. And with that, we would submit, Your Honor.
Thank you. I do find that there are least restrictive means that can be imposed in order to ensure the safety of the community, and just note for the record that the state has not met its burden by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary. I am granting an own recognizance release, but sir, you will be required to be subject to the following conditions. You are required to be supervised by pretrial services, and you must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. I am ordering the condition that you cannot possess any firearms or weapons, as this is an alleged crime of violence. Additionally, I am imposing that no contact order with Isabel Wyrick, Aurora George, and the minor child with the initials LG. That will be the order of the court, and will set your arraignment, which will be set for January 8th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you. I believe I did, but just to make sure it's clear for the record of you cannot possess any firearms or weapons, as this is an alleged crime of violence. Thank you. And I apologize, I don't know how to say his last name, CYR. Sean. Followed by Thomas Cassidy.
Seer, Your Honor, Seer.
Thank you. Good morning. We're here today based off of a failure to appear for a warrant. Just for the record, let's go ahead and start first with that arraignment. Do you have a copy of your criminal complaint?
Yes, I do.
Is
Your-
your legal name correctly spelled on line 7 of that document?
Yes, it is.
Have you had a chance to read the charges, and do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and waive a formal reading, and just for the record, the public defender's office has not been appointed. Let's go ahead and determine if you qualify for the services with the public defender. So assuming that you were to remain in custody, approximately how much money do you make per week?
Well, I'm
Custody.
out in
Zero.
custody, 0.
Thank you. I do find that you qualify for the services of the public defender, and we'll go ahead and turn to the bail hearings for both of the matters that we are currently present here on. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment. Let me just see if there's one in the newer case as well. Give me just one moment. And it does indicate that defendant does score as a 10 or a higher risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So I would note he was scored 0 points for failure to appear, but he does have the failure to appear in the defrauding a proprietor case. Looks like a bench warrant issued on the 15th. I imagine it just wasn't entered in the NCIC, so perhaps that's why he wasn't scored for it. So he's got that pending case, right? He was released on his own recognizance shortly after his arrest on November 26th. Subsequent to that, he's got a citation for possession of drug paraphernalia on December 4th. So he picked up a new case already while out on supervision on that case. Earlier this year, he's got a misdemeanor conviction in September for petty larceny out of Sparks Justice Court. He was sentenced to 60 days in jail on that case. He's got a citation for sit, lie, or sleep in a public place out of Reno Municipal Court. He failed to appear for his arraignment in that case. A bench warrant issued, and then ultimately the case was dismissed. Looks like also this year he's got a misdemeanor conviction for possession of drug paraphernalia out of Reno Municipal Court. He had a suspended sentence. I'm not sure what's happening with that at this point. He failed to appear at community court and then picked up new charges during the pendency of that case. Misdemeanor conviction for trespassing this year as well. His suspended sentence was revoked in August, and then another misdemeanor conviction earlier this year for trespassing. And then in 2022, he's got a misdemeanor conviction for battery. So like his co-defendant, he's an extremely high risk of continued criminal conduct and future non-appearance. So the state is requesting bail in the amount of $10,000 on the new unlawful occupancy case and $5,000 revocation of his OR and a new bail in the amount of $5,000 on RCR 2025-133454A. Pretrial services supervision with testing for drugs and alcohol, no contact with the property at 252 West 1st Street and Squeeze In.
I'm sorry, on the 252 West First Street, that's for the new case, correct?
Yes, sorry about that, Your Honor. Yes, so that one would be for the new case, and then Squeeze In would be for the existing case.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, in talking with Mr. Seer, he's unable to make Seer.
See,
He's unable to make any sort of bail. He is requesting a release on his own recognizance, but he does understand that he has other bail holds that are in place. But he would like you to know that if you do release him, his plan would be to live at the CARES campus. And with that, would submit, Your Honor.
Thank you. In RCR 2025-133454A, your own recognizance release is hereby revoked. I do find that the state has met its burden by proving by the required elements here today that your own recognizance release is required to be revoked, and I am in setting bail in the amount of $5,000. It will be $3,000. I am requiring in that case that you be supervised by pretrial services, as you will be required to be supervised by pretrial services in your new case. And I want to make sure you just have one place that you're checking in with. Additionally, I'm requiring that you have no contact with Squeeze In and all locations in Washoe County. Just for the record, I do find that based off of the failure to appear, the failure to comply with conditions, as well as your requirement, or not failure to comply with conditions, my apologies, but your failure to appear, as well as your criminal history, I do find that that is appropriate. With respect to RPC 2025-064975, the court does find that the state has met its burden by proving by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in this case. In order to ensure the safety of the community, bail will be set in an amount of $5,000 that will be bondable with a 10% cash option. If you're able to post that bail amount, you will be required to be supervised by pretrial services, where you must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. You are required to have no contact with the location of 252 West 1st Street. That will be the order. The court will set a 72-hour hearing, which will be set for December 26th at 9:30 a.m. And defense counsel, I don't know if this defendant would qualify, but given the facts and circumstances, I'm considering just setting a pre-sentence screening to see if a therapeutic court may be potentially appropriate. This would not be indicating that they are. Do you have any information to indicate that that might be appropriate?
Do you think that there's drugs or issues related to that?
Just being homeless is the reason why I do drugs.
Okay,
It's-
Your Honor, it appears that there is a basis for that and would ask that he be reviewed.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and set the mandatory status conference in RCR 2025-133454A for December 31st at 9 a.m. Madam Clerk, we will also set a pre-sentence screening. Again, just want to make sure it's clear, this court is not indicating that he should go to therapeutic court. Just based off of that, I am going to set that pre-sentence screening to see if that might be a potential option.
Be a court with that drug court, right? I want that.
That's what she's doing.
Okay.
So be-
It'll be January 2nd at 9 a.m. Thank you. Tom,
For the RCR one.
Thomas Cassidy, followed by Harold Coffitner. And do you want to wait one moment, Ms. Reba?
Your Honor, I was just asking the deputy to turn up the volume. Mr. Cassidy does not have his hearing aids and has hearing issues.
Thank you.
Can you hear?
I just did.
Okay, he can hear
Can
now.
you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Thank
Maybe-
you. Good morning. We're here today for a first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found and the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, when it indicates that you scored as a 3 or a low risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So yes, Mr. Cassidy scores a 3 on the risk assessment. His documented criminal history is limited to a 1973 felony conviction for possession of a controlled substance. The biggest issue for Mr. Cassidy is the risk that this behavior poses to the community and the high likelihood of conviction. I would note in his case, he simultaneously solicited 2 separate undercover officers posing as 16-year-old children. Their investigation revealed he had contacted numerous undercover accounts since at least 2020. So he's a very high risk to the community, and based on these facts, appears to be a high risk of continued criminal conduct. So the state is requesting bail in the amount of $75,000, pretrial services supervision, and no unsupervised contact with minors.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, we are requesting a release on Mr. Cassidy's own recognizance. We were able to talk to Jennifer, his wife. She confirmed that he lives in Yerington. He's welcome to return there. He served an entire career for the public as a firefighter, and he's currently receiving retirement pay. He did receive 1 point on the NPRA for not having a job, but that's because he is 72 years old and has served a whole series to get his pension with the state. His wife has concerns that this is something completely out of character for him. He's never done anything like this in the past. Again, he's reaching 72 years old, and there's question of whether there's cognitive issues going on, and the defense would like to be able to explore that because that might be at issue. He's able to comply with any condition that you require of him, and that's shown by the fact that he hasn't gotten in trouble since he was 19 years old. And we would ask that you have a condition of, no texting or no having cell phones that have any sort of access to texting materials. And with that, we think that there are conditions in place that can protect the community to allow him to be released on his own recognizance, Your Honor.
Thank you. Based on the facts as presented, the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, the factors as outlined in NRS 178.4853 and NRS 178.498, the court does find that the state has met its burden by proving by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in this case. I will note for the record the likelihood of conviction, concerning that there are at least 2 specifically named incidences of contacting different individuals, as well as the allegations that there is a pattern and a high risk of continued criminal conduct. Additionally, I will note the lack of ties to this community. I will note that he has significant ties to Urington. However, lack of ties to this community is noted as well. Bail will be set in the amount of $50,000 that is bondable with no 10% cash option. If the defendant is able to post that bail amount, I will require that he be supervised by pretrial services and must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. And I'm also imposing the condition that he's to have no unsupervised contact with minor children due to community safety. That will be the order of the court, and will set a 72-hour hearing, which will be set for December 26th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
50,000 bondable.
Next, we have Harold Cawthorne
Yeah, how do I do that stuff?
From the jail. Ask them for help.
Good morning, sir. How do you say your last name?
Coat lightener, just like a jacket,
Thank you.
and then lightener.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're here today for a first appearance bail hearing. Probable cause has been found, and the public defender's office has not been appointed to represent you. As you indicated, you retained private counsel. Sir, have you hired an attorney to represent you?
I have not had access to a telephone, so no, I have not, and I would like to have the assistance of the fine young lady on my right to help me out.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure, because I am happy we can continue this bail hearing in order to allow you to retain private counsel, or I can see if you qualify for the services of a public defender. So it appears that you wish for a public defender.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Sir, assuming that you were to remain in custody, approximately how much money do you make per week?
Oof, not that much.
In custody.
Yeah,
0.
0.
Thank you. Do you find that you qualify for the services of public defender? So the Washoe County Public Defender's Office will be appointed to represent you. I am in receipt of the Nevada pretrial risk assessment, which indicates that you scored as a 3 or a low risk utilizing that tool. State, are you ready to proceed with the bail hearing?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So this defendant has no prior documented criminal history. However, as with his co-defendant before him, just based on the facts of this case, the likelihood of conviction is very high, and the facts do indicate a risk to the community. However, since the facts aren't as aggravated as his other co-defendant, the state's not requesting, not co-defendant, the man we just saw. The state's not requesting an amount that high. I am requesting bail in the amount of $10,000 with pretrial services supervision and no unsupervised contact with minors.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, he is in agreement with those conditions to be placed. However, he's concerned as he has no liquid assets to be able to make any sort of bail. So he's requesting a release and on his own recognizance. He informs me that he's been at his residence for about a year. He currently is an engineer and manager in Tesla. And one of his concerns is that with the holidays coming up, he's offered to work other shifts to let people have those days off, and he needs to go back to work immediately. He did provide us a phone number of a coworker, but we were unable to get a hold of them this morning. And with that, Your Honor, we would submit.
Thank you. Based on the facts as presented in the Nevada pretrial risk assessment and the fact that this is outlined in NRS 178.4853 and NRS 178.498, the court does find that the state has met its burden by proving by clear and convincing evidence that bail is necessary in this case. In order to ensure the safety of the community, I will note the high likelihood of conviction as well as the significant danger to the community as outlined in the allegations and the charged offense. With that in mind, bail will be set in the amount of $10,000 that is bondable with no 10% cash option. So sir, if you're able to post that bail amount, you will be required to be supervised by pretrial services where you must check in with pretrial services within 1 business day of release. And I'm also imposing the condition that you cannot have any unsupervised contact with minor children due to community safety. We will go ahead and set a 72-hour hearing, which will be set for December 26th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
And that'll be bondable, so contact the bail bonds.
Thank you. Just to confirm, I believe that is everyone that I have on my list for today.
That is, Your Honor.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and a good weekend.
Thanks, Judge, you too.